Hi, everyone. Let me respond to one of the things that was being talked about with the manufacturing. I've had a couple of questions on this, so I want to make sure we have some clarity on this. On inventory. So let's look specifically at inventory. Oops, wrong color. Get rid of this. All right, let's try this again. Take, for example, raw material inventory. Okay, I had some questions about EOQ and min-max, and I want to talk about that. Raw material inventory, or any kind of inventory, basically in an ERP system is set up with a max and a min. In other words, you want to go no higher than this, right? But you don't want you want to reorder when you get to this. Okay, and what happens is as you start consuming, you start dropping raw materials until you hit to min. Okay, and then min triggers a purchase order. And, it triggers an actual request for more, in this case, raw material. And then you're in the safety stock. Safety stock should reflect the number of days it takes. So on average here, right? And you might want to fudge this a little bit, but for practice of this course, 4 days, we're being on the high side. And let's say it takes 4 days to receive a delivery of that raw material, and you consume, let's say, 200 tons or 200 pounds per day. What that means is that you build your min-max in an ERP system from the bottom up. This is 0. And remember, when the manufacturing facility reaches 0, you have to stop. And that's about as negative as it gets. So we have our average, and we're going to call that on the high side. Maybe it's 3 days, but we're going to say average, 4. And we consume 200 a day. So 4 days times 200 is 800. So safety stock in this case is 800. Okay, and the 800 simply reflects the average number of days a delivery takes to come in for this raw material at 200 tons, whatever a day. So 800. So that establishes safety stock. In this question, it's 800. Okay, that's the min. That's the most you can go through while you're waiting for this delivery to come in. And then the most, here you get into the EOQ determined. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm not going to get into the details of how it's computed. Just know that EOQ in your ERP system is what is the lowest. So when you add your carrying cost, okay, the cost of carrying inventory, and you add to that the shipping. Okay, so you have shipping cost every time you have to order. So shipping costs plus carrying costs, because you're going to have both. You're going to have to ship, and that's going to cost you, and you're going to have to carry some inventory. We don't have too many businesses where you don't have any carrying whatsoever. You're going to have some carrying costs. The sum of these, whatever this magic sum is, okay, whatever you do in your business within the ERP system that lowers the total, right, not just one or the other. This is the symbol in audit for total. Whatever lowers the total of carrying costs and shipping costs to its lowest, this is the EOQ, okay? This is how much you should order. And this spread here, right, this spray is the EOQ. In this case, let's say the system determines 2,800. Okay, if the system determines 2,800, that what you should order is when you get to 800, and you should come right back up to 800, to 2,800, well, that's going to be an order of 2,000. Okay, so you will notice that the EOQ, right, the EOQ is the spread or the difference between the min and the max. And that's how it's configured in your system. And then the safety stock, or the 800, which is the min, is what triggers the reorder. It's what triggers the purchase order, which brings more of the material towards your business. Now, what should happen here, if you've calculated this right, and you're a little on the high side, just to be safe, you will trip across your min. The purchase order will be issued. You'll start descending, but you won't reach 0, right? You won't reach 0 because your order will come in and boost you back up. Now you will notice something clever here, and this is where graduate students are superior to other students. You'll notice that to get to 2,800, if you're down here and you order 2,000, which is the EOQ, you will not get back up to 2,800. And these ERP systems are sensitive enough to know, yes, the spread between min and max is the EOQ, but I must also replace how much time has passed, right? Because I have descended down this little alleyway, and that spray, when it hits here and purchases, right, the system is sophisticated enough to know that when you order 2,000, you will not get back up to 2,800. So it detects the pattern of how far you go down, and it maintains, I'm not changing the number, the EOQ is still defined as the difference between the min and the max, but these systems are sophisticated enough to order enough to get up to max. And what they do is they track over time. Well, on average, this is when it was received, and then it was received here, then it was received way down here, closer to zero. And this average, right, this mean is factored in. And when we trip across the min, this system is intelligent enough to say, hey, I know I need more than 2,000 because on average I consume half of my safety stock, for example. So if it was consuming half of my safety stock, the system's intelligent enough to order 400, that's half of the safety stock, plus the 2,000 to get back up to 2,800. Okay, again, I'm not changing the definition of EOQ. It's still a difference between min and max. I just want to let you know these systems are sophisticated enough to handle these calculations. They don't just stupidly keep buying 2,000 and put you here. I hope this helps. Basically this introduces the whole idea of average consumption, average per day. But these systems are, it's pretty cool how they do this. They're able to, if you configure them right and you get a good history in there and you get a good EOQ, you can basically never run out, but at the same time minimize your carrying costs of inventory and your shipping cost. I hope you found this useful.